We'll stay in football. XFL-USFL Merger has been banging on our screens the last week. I know you've got a few nuggets to share with us. Tell us more.
Well, obviously, that the announcement came down of the merger of the two spring leagues, with XFL taking the lead position with Redbird Capital behind it, and now you're starting to see the shifting out of markets, of teams, and so what we're hearing is you're getting you'll see a consolidation. You're not going to see 16 teams. You're going to see probably 12. So that means that there's going to be 4 markets that, and they didn't say dropped. They just said they'll be furloughed until they get ready. Some of them are, like Vegas. Some of them have facility issues that still need to be worked out.
Yep.
Houston, you had 2 teams, so they're not going to have 2 teams in Houston. They're going to have 1. So some of those were natural. And you'll probably see that one of those Houston teams get moved to a different market, right? And so what we're seeing is that consolidation of the teams, and what that does is that takes the talent pool that was merged by both leagues, and now allows that talent pool to be higher for each team. And maybe they expand the rosters a little bit, but the goal there is to increase the level of play and the quality of play by reducing, by thinning out the talent pool across 16 teams. Let's get it to 12, and let's push it all into one league. We come through one training camp. We've got all that kind of stuff. So what we'll see is, what the plan is that, obviously they'll get through this season, and then this merger will take place, for the 24 season. But you'll see a higher level of play. We'll see a higher concentrated, hopefully, audience for these games. You'll see some of that talent pool, truly become, NFL worthy in front of our eyes, so that you won't be as surprised to see a player finish a season there, or someone really ball out and be all XFL, and see them in a training camp after the season, because obviously the XFL goes into June, July. So they'll be right into training camp. They won't be in mini camps. But what you'll see is that talent that doesn't get into the XFL, you'll see it migrate. You'll see that talent moving over to the European leagues. And, obviously the NFL has got a strong interest over there by playing games. They're broadcast over there. They've recently announced that each team will have a designated international spot on their rosters for development. So, gives some incentive for the domestic leagues in Europe to develop talent and get it over to the NFL. But you'll see players looking to go overseas now to play in the domestic football leagues in Germany and Austria and Poland and Spain and Italy. And then you have the ELF League, the American League of Football, which just had its championship this past weekend. Congratulations to the Rhine Fire on their win, undefeated season over the Stuttgart Surge. And what you'll see is hopefully a higher level of talent going over there to play as imports, and raising the level of play in Europe, and with the goal of getting back here, because we kind of see this roundabout of guys getting a chance. You just need to play. You just need to stay active, and possibly. Obviously, there's always talk about expansion, international expansion. Does the NFL put a team in Europe? Does this lead to an XFL, NFL, taking a more active role in development and talent evaluation and things of that nature in Europe? I think by getting more American talent over there, I think that'll be helpful. We'll see, but the big thing is you'll see these market consolidations. I think what we'll see is a higher level of play. Obviously, the ESPN Disney deal was a key component, for that. Fox at the end of the day, I think they started early. Or the USFL starts later than the XFL. So now you'll see, a just one league, one place to tune in. But more games broadcast and higher level of play, and quality of the venue is going to be critical. And I think that's been a big part of the selection process. And I think probably sponsors said, hey, we want to continue to be partners, but we want to see a higher level of content coming out of here. And at some level, some people are saying like the college game was more enjoyable to watch, than some of the lower level spring league play. And again, advertisers are going to rule, and the viewer watched good games. I mean, St. Louis was a city that put 34,000, 35,000 people in for all their home games. You want markets, that enthusiastic behind it. So, I think strategically we'll see, that be big part of the decision. They're still obviously going through, but they've announced kind of some of the markets that are definitely staying, like a St. Louis and Houston and Canton, Ohio, will be still very much involved.
So we're finally getting a premium spring football league.
That's the goal. I mean, and in order to do that, you can't have a watered down product, and you can't have 18 teams and 2 leagues and all that kind of stuff. You just need to consolidate it and make sure that your 60-man roster or your 54-man roster or whatever it is 54 players that theoretically are vying for an opportunity, a shot at the NFL. This is their next shot.
And this season starts in February, right?
This year you'll see XFL start in February and USFL starts in April. So, February to June is the timing.
So that's what is it? February, March, April, May. So about 5 months. And then there's a huge gap between the end and the start of the season. Are we likely to see these players go and fill that gap elsewhere, in your opinion, or do you think they'll be sticking around?
Well, I mean, I think the goal is, after this season, is that those players that are playing in the spring league, their goal is to get into NFL camps. And obviously you've got college players coming out into NFL camps as well. So you're gonna see the competition to get into an NFL camp now, because essentially playing in the spring league it's like getting a postgraduate year in high school. You go and just to refine yourself, or to get more reps, or maybe you were at a college and you had a late season injury and eligibility's up, and you got to go prove it, got to go show somebody. So that's I think that's one of the things that you'll see with that league. And obviously with the goal is to get into an NFL camp. Maybe if someone doesn't get an NFL camp, you could see them signing with going over and playing in Europe, playing in another league, theoretically, to say, hey, if I didn't get enough reps to show somebody in the XFL, so I'm going to go over and play an ELF. And they're, you've got American coaches with college backgrounds, program backgrounds, et cetera, that are coaching those teams over there now. And they want a certain level of player, and the fans over there, are paying top dollar to watch NFL play. If the ELF and the domestic leagues are going to continue to grow and thrive, you got to elevate your product too. So, that's, I think it's kind of one of the things that you'll see, maybe someone that didn't get a bunch of run in the XFL may go over there and kind of to keep playing, to get more film, if you will. And the beautiful thing is, over there, that still can wrap up, in the summertime, or it can wrap up in enough time to where that player gets picked up by an XFL team, again, signed, and they can continue their career. Or maybe you're a kicker, or maybe you're a skill position guy that sneaks onto an NFL roster that loses a player, and there's not there's a relationship there, and you've got some, like you said, you got some film. And obviously the NFL has got scouts over there looking for talent, so you can get discovered in a lot of places now. So I think as the talent pool continues to expand and grow, we're the game is becoming much more global now.
Does this consolidation really up the game for advertisers, because now they don't have to fight between the two leagues? If we go back to some of our early episodes, we discussed the numbers, the averages for the XFL were about 600 to 700,000 viewers per week, and the USFL was doing similar numbers. So now that consolidation brings you 1 million plus viewers every week on these games. How much more attractive is that for advertisers?
Well, a couple things. One, it gives obviously a little bit more pop to the value for the advertiser. But what it also does is it allows them to sponsor one as opposed to sponsoring two, to be able to focus. Your message is consistent. You're not getting an XFL versus a USFL message. So from an advertiser, it's if spring football is a focus that you want, and football is a focus, and you want to do a spring football or year-round platform, then it gives you a little the opportunity to be a little bit more efficient with your dollars, and also from a property standpoint, gives you a chance to stand on your rates a little bit more than what you could before. The assumption is that we'll get more less games, more viewers in one location, so what may have been a $25,000 30-second spot could easily jump to $30,000 or $40,000 and hold the value, so to speak. Given the increase in viewership, but more importantly, the quality of play, and the ability to kind of maybe take some marketing dollars that were now split between two leagues to focus it on one league, and then maybe take some money and diversify it into some other markets, or put it into activation, which is always a key component that sometimes gets left behind in all partnership deals.
Really, really interesting, because I can see now a lot more dollars going to the one source, and you can do so much more in terms of growth and development and all these activations, because now your audience is in one place instead of half here and half there. Solves a big problem, in my opinion.